everyone. I am here today to talk about the full moon in Pisces, which is kind of happening as we speak. It peaked just a little bit ago. And I do want to mention I am starting this video a bit late today because the full moon in Pisces. I've had I won't get into it because it doesn't have to do with astrology completely, but I have had some neighbor issues today that prevented filming. So what are you gonna do? The full moon, so things have calmed down a bit. Hopefully this recording goes well without noise disturbances and such. So I guess to start off this video, we can talk about a little bit how full moons cause craziness, and particularly when the moon is in Pisces. So perhaps some of you have had a weird day, or the day before, day after. Pisces is a water sign, so the full moons in water signs are more emotionally heightened, so there is that. But Pisces can sometimes bring out what I like to call the crazies. So, there can be some weird stuff today, some psychotic moments, and just people kind of being on edge. And then if you're a sensitive person, which I know many people who watch my videos and who are my clients are more sensitive and, more intuitive, more tapped in, Pisces is a very empathic kind of energy, very intuitive. So you could feel more tired or overwhelmed right now simply because that energy is heightened. And so if you're more open to it and more empathic and sensitive, you might be feeling this a lot. So that's how it may be affecting you guys. And then out in the world, you might just, see more crazy stuff. So again, I had someone being kind of crazy and loud. I've just heard a lot of sirens outside today. Definitely I'm feeling the full moon energy today, at least around here. But I do live in the city, so there's more people, which can be more craziness. So yeah, that's a little bit about the full moon in Pisces. And I know full moons in general do kind of heighten, people's emotions, kind of heighten people acting weird, and already high emotion. So the Pisces does kind of magnify some of those things. Besides that, let's talk about what really is the purpose though underneath it all. What are we supposed to be learning right now? What is the energy? So we have the sun in Virgo during this full moon and the moon in Pisces. So it really is the Virgo and Pisces energy that we are dealing with here. And this is interesting because it's earth and spirit really, because Pisces is a water sign, but it is the last sign in the zodiac. So I always say that it has to do with spirit, the spiritual world, almost like ether, instead of, I feel like it's more just ethereal than the other water signs are more emotional. So we're dealing with the physical, the earthly plane, and our spirit. Both of these energies are coming up right now, opposing each other, at this full moon point. And we are being reminded that we are both living in this physical, material world, that we have a body, and also that, there's more to it than that. There's more to the world than that. There's more to ourselves than that. And we are also spirit. We also, there's this animated life force that's greater, than our bodies. And so it's almost like an acknowledgement and remembering that we are both. And it can be a good time to bring these into balance as well. And with the Virgo energy, we are just wrapping up Virgo season now because this is at the very end of Virgo season that we are having this full moon. Virgo is the earthly sign about getting everything in order, getting organized, about the little details, about being healthy. So there has been a focus on this type of thing. But then when you have this Pisces opposition moment during this full moon, there's a moment where we do have to remember the spiritual side and realize there's more than we can see. And it can be like a surrender moment. We've had a couple of these this month because we had 2 oppositions to Neptune during this month. And so this is kind of like the 3rd time this energy is coming into play of the need to surrender during Virgo season, regardless of the earthly, nitpicky, detail-oriented, organizational energy. There's a need to kind of surrender to spirit and to the divine. And so this is another opportunity to do that. So to kind of balance out these energies, don't get so bogged down in the physical and trying to figure it all out. Virgo can be very like overthinking as well. Don't get so like that, that you kind of drive yourself a little crazy, you know. You want to surrender right now a bit. You want to say, okay, I surrender to the divine. I know I will be led in the right direction. I'll get the right ideas, the right guidance, and surrender to your own intuition too, because I think that is like where we get the divine guidance. So I've reminded people of this a few times this month, and here I am again with this full moon saying the same thing because it's still important. And then that's how you integrate it with the Virgo energy. So you kind of take a step back, like, okay, I'm going to stop overthinking. I surrender. But when you do that, you don't just like give up. It's like you tune in. You become more aligned, even though you can't practically see the steps forward. And then you might get an idea. And then that's where you use the Virgo energy. You know, that's when you say, oh, okay, that's an idea, so that's just one little step, but sure, I'll take that, because Virgo can be about the details, just the little steps. So tune into your divine guidance, surrender, and then when you get a little idea, or perhaps someone suggests something to you or gives you a little opportunity that you feel is in alignment, then you could say yes to that, act and on an idea. And then that's how you are still using the Virgo physical energy, but by tapping into your divine guidance. So you are moving forward just in little increments, and it is very tuned in and without needing to know like the whole path forward, because the Pisces energy can confuse things. So as the best way to deal with this energy we're in is surrender, and then take little action steps in the physical. But don't get too bogged down by the idea that you need to have it all figured out in the whole path. And there was a quote I stumbled upon yesterday. I don't have it on the top of my head, so I'll kind of explain what it was saying, that perfectly matched with this energy. So I kind of wanted to explain this energy a bit through what this quote was saying. And so it was something about how there is a continual momentum that never ends in life, and our spirit is kind of with that momentum. So our spirits always move forward, but the physical and the body take time to catch up. So it was kind of saying that like the spirit may and the spirit may be more connected to your imagination. So it's like what you're imagining, your imagination, and therefore your spirit kind of are in the future. Like, wow, that's where I want to end up. That's what you're dreaming about. You know, your spirit kind of already is in that future timeline. But your body's kind of like at the very beginning of that path because it's slower, it's denser, the material world takes time to catch up. And I thought that was so interesting because that fits very well with this energy. So you might feel like your spirit is ahead of the game, but then you're very confused as to how to get your physical life, you know, on that same path. And perhaps it's just trusting that you are moving there, just at a slower, you know, pace, little by little. With the Virgo energy is about doing things and making things real, but little by little. So that's what we're doing right now, and do know that your spirit probably is ahead, that you have projected like a future timeline perhaps, or whatever you've dreamed about, imagined. That is most likely, where you're going. Your spirit might be there on some level, maybe the spiritual level, it is real. So give your body time to catch up, tune in, and then you'll get guidance, I think, on the little steps to get there. So I thought that was really interesting, and a great way to explain this energy. And I will say though, right now, the Pisces energy, because sometimes the moon is an energy we don't want to get too trapped in. I wouldn't just give up though, I wouldn't just get into like escapism or just be like, oh, it's too much. With Virgo energy, we want to be grounded, and we do want to take steps, just little ones, and not because we're like, I'm overthinking and I don't know what to do. So it's all about balance, so I wouldn't like just escape or like, drink away your problems or give up completely. That would be like Pisces energy we don't want to get into. It's just about the surrender, meaning more alignment, that would be positive Pisces, so that we take little steps, but really from an aligned place. But I wouldn't, give up. So giving up or escaping isn't very productive, because it is still Virgo season, and Virgo is not about that, especially if it's something unhealthy, because Virgo is about our health. And what else? There's no exact aspects to the full moon, but other planets are making aspects at the same time, so I will talk about those. So first of all, Mercury is making 2 aspects during the full moon. One is an exact trine to Jupiter, and then shortly after the full moon, so I'm counting it as kind of in effect already, Mercury will square Pluto. So Mercury is in Libra. We do have a lot of Libra energy right now. And in fact, the sun, is that true? Yes. The sun is the only thing left in Virgo. So during this full moon, we are wrapping up that Virgo energy. So it's important at the end of Virgo season, do the grounding, take the little guided steps. But we are moving away now into Libra with some of the other planets, and into a state of balance and harmony and fairness, and a lot about relationships as well. And so Mercury's in this place, it's in Libra, which is our mind, our communication. And it is trining Jupiter in Aquarius. So this is a positive aspect. I'm glad this is the one that's most exact during the full moon. And I think this would be about finding a way to communicate positively. So finding a way to communicate, and Jupiter's big, so it does kind of, people really might want to communicate right now, but this looks like a good thing, like speaking something, because with the Libra energy, to perhaps compromise, help out a relationship, find some balance and harmony, get things in a better state again, for some justice even. And then with Aquarius, that energy, that's about like for the greater good of all. So it goes very well with Libra. So this is about, and you might say a lot, you might feel called to say something you usually wouldn't, and more in an excessive way, but it's for a good reason, and it's for, people, it's for harmony, it's for equality, it's for everyone getting along and what is best, what is fair. And so that's a very positive, helpful energy, and definitely for any interactions with people or relationships. Some people might receive positive news with that, and it can definitely help you get into a positive mental state. It can help you think a bit more optimistically, to balance out your mind a bit, which might be helpful during this full moon. But then right after the full moon, Mercury will square Pluto. So this shows though there is something tense. So there's a positive communication energy that's about growth. It's great, and a positive mental energy. But then there's a harsh one. There's one that's like something's not right. Something's gotta end. Power struggle. And again, Mercury in Libra says I want to communicate from a place that's best for everyone, that's fair, all of that. And so with Pluto, it's like there might be a power struggle where things are not fair and conversations need to be had. Things need to happen to restore balance, but there could be some tenseness. So for some people, there might be like positive mental states and ability to get more balance, positive news, positive conversations, relationship-wise, to get things on a better level. But also there might be like power struggle conversations where things are out of whack, not balanced, not equal, and need to be dealt with. And Pluto does always show a structure. Something is not right and needs to end. So and it's been showing us that, every time it comes up in an aspect, and structures can be little things in our lives. It's not always huge. So something's probably not good. Something needs to end. And then Mercury gives us like kind of the ability to say something, but in a fair, just way, seeking justice over something that is not fair, power balance out of whack. And also, possibly to end something, a structure that's not good. And I would say with Libra, it's something that's not fair. There's something where there's no compromise, it's not balanced, it's not harmonious, and it's not just, because Libra is the scales of justice. So there might be some difficult stuff that needs to be worked through as well. Conversations, maybe more difficult news that leads to something needing to be balanced. But I'm glad there's the positive aspect with Jupiter. And what else was I going to say about that? Oh goodness. There could be, with the Jupiter, there could be good news, but then with Pluto, it's like there could be annoying news, news that is a bit more frustrating. So that's why it's important to deal with it. And Mercury is about to go retrograde soon, so it's an important time, I think, to sort things out, have positive conversations, have difficult ones at least that restore fairness and balance. It's important to figure all these things out. And with Mercury square Pluto, that could be a more difficult mental state, where we need to release old thought patterns because our minds are not balanced. So that can be another way that the imbalance is showing up, like our thought patterns, our minds are not, in balance. So Pluto's like purge, the thing we're purging, the structure is really like a pattern that our minds are kind of set up and are wired in, and we need to redo that and bring more harmony to our mental state. And so both these Mercury aspects, what they are doing is really, just trying to maintain harmony in the mind and harmony in our communications and relationships with others, where things are peaceful, totally in balance. Libra symbol is the scales, and they need to be perfectly in balance for Libra energy to be happy. So that's why it's about, compromising. Both people are happy, just that state of calm. And no one being in power or, over another, or things that are just unjust, anything like that, that tips the scales. So the Pluto aspect might be a scale tipper, and the Jupiter aspect might be like, let's figure this out for the best. So that's going on. And let's see. Mars is also making an aspect. Mars in Libra as well. Mars recently moved into Libra. Right now, the two planets that are in Libra are Mercury and Mars, and the Sun, it will be there later this week. Venus has already moved into Scorpio. So Mars, again, so we're having a bit of this Libra energy right now being highlighted because of the aspects. So Mars in Libra, making a positive aspect to the nodes, the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius. And it is particularly making the stronger aspect to the North Node, which is good because that's about moving forward, the next step we're supposed to take, the direction we're supposed to take. Whereas the South Node can be something to let go of. So this is good. We're at like this crossroads where we're moving along in our destiny, the next step we need to take along our path. This is a positive like destiny point. And Mars is about action, so whatever actions we're taking are moving us forward. Although Mars and Libra actions aren't really, big or fiery, Mars and Libra can even have a struggle moving forward sometimes because it's the scale. So it's kind of like, do I take the action? Do I make that choice? I'm not sure. But this does show movement forward, but it's kind of like through weighing it up. We're weighing up the options. What's fair? What's balanced? What's more peaceful? What's, the best thing to do? And then with the North Node in Gemini, kind of being very open to ideas, being open-minded, weighing different things. So it's kind of a weird thing because it does show like positive movement forward, positive action, but kind of through allowing yourself to weigh up the options and to look at all the facts. So that's kind of interesting. So I wouldn't say it's like quick movement forward, but it does show like good energy on the right path. So that's interesting. It's interesting with the energy right now. I do see a lot of like any movement forward is more minute. Again with Virgo, it's the little steps that you take based on tuning in to your divine guidance. And then like with this Mars Libra North Node Gemini energy, it's kind of about taking action because you weighed up different things. You're taking in lots of viewpoints. And so that's better right now. So I think if you feel like things are slower or that's okay, take things one step at a time, tune in, and if you need to weigh up options and you need to look at different ideas, different facts, that's okay right now because that will move you forward. Yes, it might be slower. It's not like an instant fix, an instant like, yeah, let's go kind of energy, but that's what we're supposed to be in right now. So it's okay. So take your time, take in the facts, weigh up the options, and pick the best, most harmonious, fair path. And it's okay if you're moving forward slowly. And the full moon too is a time of release, so this might be about releasing something in order to move forward. It could be releasing some emotions because Pisces is so emotional. Some deep, like, spiritual kind of baggage almost, I want to say. Like Pisces in an astrology chart rules the 12th house, which is a lot of our unconscious stuff lies that we don't deal with. So maybe, we're purging some deep stuff. And maybe what we're letting go of is the excess control. We're surrendering to the divine, all of that at this time. So yeah. Again, Mercury retrograde is coming soon, so it will be a period of time where new things won't be recommended. We're not there yet. I will make a video when it is Mercury retrograde time. So I want to say you got like a week. It's like the very, very end of September, so you got a little bit. So right now, just tune in, take the little steps, look at all the different options. That's okay. So keep moving forward in these little ways by taking the little steps and taking in the little information right now. That is exactly the best thing to do. And just let go of, if you got these heavy emotions, or if you really do need to surrender and trust spirit and tune in, and that's what you're letting go of. You're kind of like just being like, all right, I'm gonna stop controlling because I'm cutting off my intuition. I'm cutting off my connection to source by doing that. So I'm gonna give that up and start listening to that. And it's hard to do that. I don't think we're taught to operate that way. And then when a lot of people say like surrender, or go with the flow, people will kind of do a Pisces thing that isn't helpful and just like give up. Like they don't, sure, they stop worrying about it, but they're not like tuning in. It's not like an alignment. They're just like, whatever, like that's it. And that's what you don't want to do. Again, with the Pisces, I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't like escape. You might be more tired sometimes with Pisces, so honor that, but don't give up entirely. Tune in. And I think that is weird for us, but I think you'll notice when you do that, you do get ideas, or stuff does show up, and maybe, again, not the whole picture, but like one thing, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, I should do that, and it comes from nowhere. Or someone shows up, with a nice sounding opportunity, and you don't know where it will lead, but you say yes in that moment. That's a Virgo step, that is a little step in the right direction. So that's the energy right now. That's what we are all supposed to be tuning into. And so I think it's really powerful. I do like that there are two good aspects around the full moon. But like I said, it is a very touchy day, though. It's very sensitive, but it does look positive. So just kind of let the moon do what it needs to do, and when it's time for Mercury retrograde and kind of taking a step back and reevaluating, I will let you know. But you got a little while left to let go, tune in, take little steps, get some ideas. So go ahead and do that. Yeah, and I will see you all soon, I'm sure. So have a good one.